All right, everybody. Well, the Eagles' offseason is not even a week old, and here we are with all these leaks coming out, and I knew this was going to happen, so let's just dive right in. The first leak is not surprising, but surprising at the same time, and that is that A.J. Brown demanded a trade several times this year. Now, if you're anybody who's paying attention and understand how sports work, specifically the human element of sports, which many of the fans ignored this year because wins are all that matter. 4-0 in September, wins, baby. A.J. Brown only has 10 catches on the year, but wins. So A.J. Brown is fine. We're just making this up. No, it turns out he wasn't fine. And not only did he, express his frustration, but he demanded a trade. And none of that was surprising. The only surprising part actually was when he demanded a trade. Reportedly demanded it after week 3. Now, if you'll remember, week 3 was the comeback against the Rams. The offense was terrible in the first half, but in the second half, that's when Jalen kind of took over and just started throwing the ball, airing it out to AJ. AJ finished with like 6 catches, 109 yards, I believe, something like that. Devontae had the game-winning touchdown. Jordan Davis blocked the kick, brought it back, covered the spread. Thank you, Jordan. So that was the game where it seemed like at the time, for me personally, it was the only time where I had any hope during the season where, like, okay, these guys are going to figure it out. They're going to start changing their identity, getting the ball into the receiver's hands. But it turns out that even after that game, A.J. Brown was frustrated and demanded a trade. So that was, if that is to be true, then that is odd. But him demanding a trade at any point this year is before the trade deadline is not surprising at all. I would not be surprised if he got traded. I said all year long, all these people acting like there's nothing wrong with the Eagles just because they're winning games and we're spoiled or we're crying or we don't know the pain of the older generation of Eagles fans. I said, well, when you're saying this, don't get mad when A.J. Brown gets traded. And here we are where it looks like he'll get traded. Or at the very least, just come to training camp disgruntled and, it'll be a distraction. So that was the one report. The next report was by Mike Silver of The Athletic. And if you don't know, Mike Silver is a little bit of a 49ers fanboy. He's based out of the Bay Area. And this isn't to say that his um, he's just doing this to piss off Eagles fans or whatever, but it is to say that this is a story that's been said multiple times, and it's never been backed up really by any Philly area media. So take it with a grain of salt. That being said, what Mike Silver is saying is just something we've already heard a bajillion times. Like, players on the offense are frustrated with Jalen Hurts. Wow, thank you. Thank you for telling me that an offense with this much talent is frustrated with each other, truly. But the problem is that in this article, all these articles that get released, you're not answering the question that anybody once answered. We want to know who was responsible for what, why it's happening, why it was allowed to happen. But the only thing that's happening is you're just saying all these little bits and pieces of things that contradict each other. For example, he goes on to say that Jalen Hurts is a perfectionist, but he also says he's not willing to be pushed out of his comfort zone. That doesn't make any sense. That's an oxymoron, or it's hypocrisy. It's whatever you want to call it. It just doesn't make sense. He goes on to say, Jalen has a stoic attitude or this stoic personality, and he wears Michael Jordan themed cleats, but he's not Michael Jordan. It's like, wow, thank you for telling us that. How would we ever figure this out without the brilliance of Mike Silver? What is new here? What are you if you're going to release these articles that are somehow trying to prove a point that Kevin Patullo or Nick Sirianni is seemingly leaking to you, then could you at least come to a conclusion? Could you arrive at a conclusion? Could you tell us new information that we don't know? Because you're telling me that A.J. Brown, the star wide receiver, is frustrated with the quarterback of an offense that's struggling. Wow. Truly breaking news. I mean, what would we do without you? How about you tell us why AJ, they're trying to force this narrative, and I'm not even saying it's not true. I imagine that AJ Brown is frustrated with Jalen Hurts, but to me, it seemed like there was a shift in body language between Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown at the halfway point of the year. And we even got several quotes from Jalen about, me and AJ are in a good place. When they threw a touchdown pass, they danced together, this, that, or whatever. It may not mean much, but it was better than what was happening the first part of the year. Why don't they ever go into detail about what's happening between A.J. Brown and the head coach? Could it be because the head coach or the offensive coordinator is the one leaking these things? Are you going to tell me that A.J. Brown and Nick Sirianni's relationship is good? We saw Nick Sirianni yelling in the tunnel after the win against Buffalo, and A.J. Brown looked at him like he was a pathetic piece of garbage. We saw Nick Sirianni yelling at A.J. Brown to get off the field after those 2 drops, and they almost fought each other. Are you to tell me that their relationship is perfect? Why is there no paragraphs about that? Are you telling me that's not important, but their relationship with the quarterback is? That's interesting to me. Why aren't you going into detail about that? All these reports are the same. There's frustration within the building for each other. Okay, great. And then one part of the article says people are frustrated that Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie don't criticize Jalen. What does that even mean? Criticize to who? The media? Like leaking to the media? Where would they even have an opportunity to criticize him? Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie aren't in team meetings. They aren't in the QB room. They aren't with them going over film. Where would they criticize? You want Jeffrey Lurie to speak post-game every game like Jerry Jones does and criticize Jalen Hurts? I don't understand that criticism. When have those two ever criticized a quarterback publicly, no matter how good or bad he is? That just doesn't make sense. Are you talking about behind the scenes? Do you want Jeffrey Lurie to go to AJ and be like, yeah, he sucked ass today, Jalen did? Like, I don't understand. My one plea to all these people, if you're going to write a story that's about drama, I don't even care. Like, make the Eagles look as bad as you want, but tell me something I don't already know. You're just recycling the same nonsense. The players are frustrated with each other and the coaching staff. Blah, blah. No shit, buddy. Tell us something we don't know. Tell us who's responsible for the offense looking like this. Somehow we are in the 4th largest media market in the world, in the country, I should say, and yet none of these reporters are getting the answer to why did the offense look like this all year long. We're asking stupid questions about was Jalen willing to run? Nick, were you be involved with the head coach or the offensive coordinator search? This, that, and the other. Why don't you just get straight down to the nitty gritty? Why don't you ask who is responsible for this monstrosity? That's what I want to know. Stop publishing these stories if you're not going to say anything new. It's all the same thing, just twisted and reworded. We don't care. We get it. The offense was pathetic. People are frustrated with the quarterback. People are frustrated with the coach. No kidding. Tell me something I don't know. We all know this. You're not adding anything of value. So I don't even care if you publish these hit pieces or whatever you want to call it, these drama-filled articles. Just tell me something I don't already know. You're telling me the grass is green and the sky is blue and all this. Like, we know. Tell us something new. You're not. So just be quiet. So that's my thoughts on that. I'm sure there will be many more leaks to come, especially if Kevin Patullo is somehow still involved. I can't believe they're thinking of letting him stay in the organization. I mean, does Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie have that little self-awareness? Do they realize he's leaking all this stuff? And even if he isn't, what has he earned to stay involved in the building? It's like, oh, he can't be the offensive coordinator, but we'll make him the janitor. We'll just give him, like, no. We're not giving him an office in the corner. We're not doing any of this. Kick him out. Let him get a job at Jacksonville State or whoever will have him, which is nowhere. Let's not be ridiculous here. So, you just knew this was going to happen with the way the Eagles season ended and with the way it went the entire time, but it's just ridiculous. If you're going to write a story, tell me something new. Other than that, I don't care. So, that's it for now. I'm sure there'll be many more stories to come, and I'll be back to cover things when the Eagles finally hire an offensive coordinator. I have people I like, people I don't like. I'll talk about that in another video. But for now, give me a like. Comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.